Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. It has been dry outside, but that does not mean it's dry inside. Lots of the time, whether home or office, we just keep going, and that's great. We hope there's nothing wrong. Thank goodness if there is nothing wrong with your home or office, that's amazing. But once in a while, you look here, you look there, and you notice something's a little off. And my first inclination is to ignore it. That's dumb. That is not responsible. And things don't just magically go away. What happens is they get worse. Now, if you're smart, and something I've learned, the minute you notice something, you act fast. 954-579-0356. Call that number 24 hours, 7 days a week. They will make sure the small thing you noticed stays small, doesn't get worse. And with their licensed insured contractors, certified contractors, they will make sure it looks brand new. Not everyone can do it. They can. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-579-0356. Check them out on the website, WCUFL.com. Check them out on the socials. They're very active there as well, at Water Cleanup FL. And you want to take my word for it? You don't want to take my word for it? No matter what, where do we go when we want to know what people are going through with a service industry, with some kind of a company? First of all, I have worked with them. They did a great job with my home. Go to Google, though, as well, with over 75-star reviews. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have the schmutz, believe me, they have the guts. Miami Heat, we've talked a lot more about them recently, have had an interesting season. Well, they played a lot better over the last month. They are sitting there in the 6th seed within 2-3 games of the 5 and 4 seed. They are in the mix in the Eastern Conference, but are they truly a contender? We talk with Bally Sports Florida, longtime NBA coach and now analyst for the Miami Heat on Bally Sports Florida. The one and only coach, Ron Rothstein, joins us talking Heat and NBA today on the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
This is great. I mean, and this man, if anybody was worthy of a film of that kind of distinction, it would be this gentleman right here. We love him. And he is the color analyst and involved in the pregame, postgame, and all of the Heat broadcasts on TV. And, of course, coached the Miami Heat, the original coach of the Miami Heat. And that was an entertaining era, if not necessarily successful in terms of wins and losses. But we love this man. Ron Rothstein joins us here on the show. Ron, how are you, my friend? Good to have you on. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Good to talk to you. How you been?
Good morning, sir.
We've been fine, and yet, I don't know. I've been operating, and, just from conversations, whatever, listening to, radio broadcasts and television analysis. You would think that the Heat weren't having that great of a year, but I'm looking at what's happening. They're atop their division. They're knocking on the door of maybe being the 5th or 4th seed in the East. They seem to be rounding into form. They had that one blip there in Charlotte. Otherwise, they're playing some good basketball against good teams. How would you characterize this season? Because it seems like the fans haven't really gotten around to the point where they've embraced it yet.
Well, we're off to a slow start, and I think it was unexpected because of all the people that we had back, but we had people in different roles and situations like that. But since the slow start, we're playing very well. I think we're 17-8 after the first 27 games. If you go around the league and look at that, you look at that winning percentage, it puts you pretty close to the top. We've had a couple of games where especially games where we've had leads in the fourth quarter and weren't able to hold on. And that's not something that we had that much of a problem with last year. So it's been a little bit choppy, but we also are really first starting to get healthy. And to me, that's always the key. Until you get healthy and sustain that health, it's so hard to win in this league and win on a consistent basis. But we're starting to do that now. And, one of the reasons is, I think the main reason is, you get your players together out there, and they're getting the reps together, and they're getting the feel for one another. They're starting to trust one another. You can talk all that, but to actually feel it and do it, it takes time. It takes time out on the court under pressure to get it done.
Coach, we're hearing from media, locally, nationally, from fans, the Heat need to make a move for the Heat to be in the same place as the Celtics and the Nets and the Bucks. The Sixers even, they need to make a move. First, do you believe they do need to make a move to really be in that conversation? And if so, what kind of move would you be looking for from the Heat?
Look, I'm not sure what we need to do. I'll be real honest.
Okay.
One thing I do know is we're small. We're a small team. But we're going to get your 7 back. He's healthy. He's going to start coming back after the All-Star break. How much he's going to be able to play, how effective he can be, and how long it's going to take him to really, feel like himself and get comfortable with the other guys and them get comfortable with him, that remains to be seen. That's always a huge question mark. But going into the season, going into training camp, he was going to be the starting center. Bam was going to be at 4, and we weren't going to be so small. So, everybody says we got to get bigger, and I'm not so sure that that's wrong. But the answer might be right here. Now, the other thing is, if you go to make a move, at what cost and what's the move? You just don't do it. Satisfy all the noise out there. That doesn't make any sense. Because you're going to, 9 times out of 10, when you do that, you hurt yourself. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what that next phone call is going to be, or when the phone might ring, or when you call somebody and they've had a bad day. And you don't know how they feel.
Yeah.
And that happens.
They just throw
we know Pat Riley is a master at that. I remember Shaq showing up with those squirt guns, and we thought that was never going to happen. And, he's pulled off some remarkable deals, including what I think is the greatest NBA management move of all time, and that was unloading what was a bloated Shaq with $60 million left on his contract at a time where you would have thought there would have been few takers. Ron Rothstein guesting with us here on the show. I mean, you can't help but notice, and this was always something, part of the narrative ever since this man was drafted. People marveled at the potential of Bam Adebayo. And then there were a lot of different conversations going around, swirling around about what he needed to do, to get to this elite level. But it appears he's figured it out, whatever it is, because the man's having a remarkable season by any standard.
He has. Listen, Bam, first of all, Bam's a great kid. He's a great man, great guy. He's just a superhuman being. And when you get a guy like that, who's willing to put in the time, put in the work, never complains, and has, he's as big and strong as he is, although he's not that big. Bam's only like 6'9", really. Yeah. Okay, but he's strong, and he's got a great work ethic, and he's just a great kid, and he's gotten better every single year. And you used to say it would take 3 to 5 years after you drafted a player before he became what he would be as an NBA player. Now, because they come in so young, sometimes it takes 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
It can be a little bit different because, usually they say that an NBA player is at his prime somewhere between 26, 27, and 32 or 33. And after that, there's some slippage. But that hasn't really changed. But remember, kids, a lot of these guys come in very, very young. So that's why sometimes it takes longer. But I think this is Bam's 5th year, if I'm not wrong. And you just see each year, you see him step up, add something new to his game, and increase his ability to be a real impact player. The guy leads the league in points in the paint.
Yeah.
Field goal percentage.
It's amazing.
He's developed. He's become so good at that little baby pull-up jumper in the paint. And that has really elevated him.
Coach, and I've asked you about Bam a lot, so I want to give him his credit. Is he now underappreciated by the league? Like, Other guys are good defenders in the paint, on ball or off ball. He can defend everything in a way we haven't really seen since maybe a LeBron. And then on offense, you don't lose anything, you gain because his passing ability is unselfish. He's become a little bit more aggressive this year, which we kept asking. Like, is he now nationally underappreciated?
Yeah, I think so. I do. I think that's true. But he's matched up against the Senators in the East, and the first one you have to match him up against is Embiid.
Yeah.
Well, that guy.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
Look, if you put Bam stand side by side with Embiid, you see how much bigger Embiid.
He's like 5 inches.
He's just got enormous size, strength, and ability. His skill level is really off the charts. And he's been the only thing that he's had to do. I mean, look, everybody works, everybody gets better. He's had to get healthy, and now he's reasonably healthy, and he's gotten himself in better shape. A few years back, I wouldn't have bet $5 that he would last 3 or 4 games in a row.
Wow.
He's always going to get hurt. Something was going to happen, but now his conditioning is better, and he's healthier. And you see the results. You see what the guy is capable of doing. I don't think I've ever seen a big guy with his touch from range, other than the guy in the Western Conference.
Yeah, Jokic.
I mean, there's some pretty good guys out there. But yes, do I think Bam is underappreciated? Yes, I do. Because, he hasn't been that great from the beginning, from the get-go. He wasn't the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick, okay? And he's had to develop his game. He's had to work, and, he's taken to that program, and he's put in the work and the time, and he keeps getting better and better and better. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time before the national media accepts or sort of recognizes, wait a second, this guy's terrific.
I remember those early expansion days of the Heat when you were coaching, and I don't think you got the benefit of the doubt from the officials very often during those times. But I was just curious. I'm sure you've seen this.
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that?
Well, when Ronnie Cycli, had like 6 fouls and it was only the second quarter, and they were thinking maybe they're doing a number on this kid. But that being said, I mean, I'm just curious, if you have any kind of reaction when you see things like, I'm sure you've seen the play a million times where LeBron gets hacked by Jason Tatum with no time left in the game. He's going to go to the stripe and win it for the Lakers. There's an official standing, like looking right at this. You could not miss this. And then one of the other Lakers comes running over with a camera, and gets a technical because he was saying, "Hey, look at this, man! How could you possibly miss this?" Patrick Beverly. I mean, outrageously obvious foul. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, there's a lot of complaints about officiating in all sports. Has been throughout the history of all games. It's especially been topical in the NFL this year. And is that something? I mean, what do you think when you see something like that as a former coach and, as we said, as somebody that didn't necessarily get favorable treatment from the guys in the zebra shirts?
Well, first of all, this is unbelievable. But if you get a clip of that play, okay, and run it back, LeBron walked before he was fouled.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's typical of him. I mean, he gets like Antetokounmpo takes 11 steps.
Wait. Not just a little walk. Took 3 steps.
Oh, again.
Yeah.
Again.
It took 3. I mean, it was such a blatant travel. It was ridiculous. Okay. So let's go on from that. Okay. The other thing is, I think I read this the other day. The Lakers have been part of the 2-minute report 34 times.
Yes.
About missed calls in the last 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay. And 21 of the 34 were in their favor.
Yes. Okay. I saw that.
So the history on it the other night, and Pat Beverly coming out with
that was great.
With the camera and the picture. Okay. And he walks up to Eric Lewis. All right. Well, come on, will you please? I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, guys, come on. That's
It's not,
all,
it's,
all
it's
of
not like
that-
LeBron never got a
all
call
that is-
before either. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All of that is wrong. Just flat out wrong.
We know.
Now let's go to the officiating.
Yes.
One thing I do know, officials don't want to make mistakes,
Yeah.
but they're human beings. And things happen. They don't try and make that mistake. It just happens. It's a split second. My question is, if we got three guys out there, not one of them could see that. And I know that there's a primary and the other guys have off the ball stuff, but when the shot goes up, eyes are going to go towards that shot. I'm sort of surprised that not one of the officials saw it. But these things do happen. And you have to remember, in a 48-minute game, you've got over 200 possessions. And there's a lot of things that happen. So a lot of mistakes that have been made all game long by players. Turnovers, didn't block out, throw the ball away, miss an easy shot, don't contest the shot. It's not fair to blame the official. It's just not fair. That's the reality of the situation. But when it happens at crunch time, of course, it's like blinding. It's like a flashlight, okay, or a flashbulb. And that's what everybody's going to remember. But come on, everybody, grow up and move on.
Oh, it was great. I mean, I was waiting for Vince McMahon to step in there and interview LeBron after that play. I mean, he looked like he had just gotten jobbed in a professional wrestling match.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. The histrionics were great. I don't think even at the park, I mean, that call would have been honored after the show that LeBron put on. Well, Ron, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for being with us. I mean, there's some heavyweights in the East that the Heat are going to have to navigate their way through. So we'll talk to you again about that as the season progresses with Milwaukee, of course, went in at Antetokounmpo and company, and Philadelphia playing great ball. Embiid could be the MVP, and Boston's been great wire to wire so far this year. So we'll see where the Heat fit in. And thanks so much for being with us. Great stuff, as always. Always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks, Coach.
Always good to talk to you guys. Take care now.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Ron Rothstein, ladies and gentlemen.
We really have a great time every talk. Every conversation we have with Coach Ron Rothstein, he not only coached for years as a head coach and an assistant, he's been an analyst for a really long time, and he's just spot on. He knows his stuff. He's interesting. He's entertaining. He's fun, and he explains it to the lay person like us. Yeah, I've watched basketball my whole life. I played my whole life. I know what Coach Ron Rothstein knows in his pinky, but he can still get that out to us, and we really have a good time every time we talk to him. And look, Bam is underappreciated. It's funny, I've been tough on Bam because he's shown so much ability, but he's not consistent. Well, this year he's been consistent night in, night out. He's been more aggressive, still while keeping some of that selflessness, but he is taking and hitting his jumpers. He is going to the basket. He is become, at times, the best player on this team, and at most nights, at worst, the second best player on this team. Hero's been better, but it's been Butler and Bam that have really been the story. And Bam at times has superseded Butler, which that was not the case in years past. Nationally, they don't get it. Yes, Jokic and Embiid are better than him as offensive players. All around, he's right there with them. And that's where he stands, is at worst third. He's the third best true big in the NBA right now. I mean, he is. Cat Williams is good. And Cat Williams. Karl Anthony Towns. I love Cat Williams as a comedian. Karl Anthony Towns is good. There's a lot of other guys that are skilled big men. He is the third best big man to Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. He just is. And the national media maybe the media nationally understand it. The players understand it. The talking heads and the fans don't get it nationally. Bam Adebayo was tremendous, and he's really come into his own. And he is not appreciated nationally, and it sort of sucks. But he should be. Look, Defensive Player of the Year award. I don't know who they want to now give it to perimeter guy, and they've given it in perimeter guys in the past, but usually it's a big man. Rudy Gay, not sure was the perimeter. Bam does both, and he does both as well as any guard, any forward, or any center in the league. It is weird that he is so not given credit defensively. And offensively, the dude's averaging over 20 points a game. Rebounding, he's passing, he's doing everything. He is not given the credit he deserves. And we'll see what happens with the Heat. Ron wouldn't commit to what move they needed to make. Look, Yurtseven should help them with a big. He seems like he's coming back. They need another four, and they need a point guard. I don't know if they can get both, but they need one of them. We'll see what happens with Miami Heat. If you want to know more about your South Florida sports scene and the sports scene at large, check us out in the mornings. South Florida Live, the Defo Show with Lubie, national podcast. Brandon Lang is classic. He's one of the early and great handicappers, and he's just hysterical. He's really funny. He knows his stuff. Our podcast today, the Believe Network, BLEAV.com, search After Hours, and our South Florida content right here, the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?